Welcome back, guys, to the Kinda Nice podcast. Today is going to be another full house. We have everybody here: Matt Carmona, Daniel Gill, Grant McCartney, and your boy Kid. We're trying a new set layout today because the table with 4 people is a little crowded, so we have just a couch kind of lounging style.
Just say why
vibe.
we moved away from the table. I looked like a freaking giant.
You look like...
I did not enjoy looking. I'm not that big, y'all.
You look like Goliath.
Yeah, and like Grant's a huge built man, and
He
because
looks
I'm in the
small.
foreground, it looks so stupid.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. This couch has dandruff, bro. What's going on with this faux leather, bro? It is all over me.
When we bought the couch, I like wiped it down with the Clorox wipes, and I think I like destroyed the faux leather.
Let me tell you, you definitely did. Also, everyone out there, please subscribe to our Patreon so we can get a new couch. This is ridiculous.
Just PayPal Grant money, we'll get the new couch.
Yeah, dude, just send me money on PayPal and send it at Island Ninja.
But it's just
hashtag new couch money.
I think it's just this section.
Bro,
but anyways,
if
you guys want to watch the show, you can go to patreon.com/kindanice and we'll have the full episodes there, video episodes.
Look at
I'm mid promo, bro. Not now. After that, we're also starting to launch full-length videos on YouTube at Kinda Nice Podcast, so you guys can check those out as well. We're only releasing older videos, so you guys, Grant's trying to be hella distracting right now. So you guys, because you guys can check those out, YouTube, Patreon, and then the Instagram, we post clips. Other than that, we can get right into what we did last night. Me and Grant got to go see Jordan Peterson live. He did like a show or a lecture, I guess you'd call it.
We weren't sure what to call it.
Yeah,
Is this a speaking engagement?
Talk straight
a session?
like that.
Is this a speaking session?
There you go.
Is it a sermon? I
didn't know.
No. Coming from a massive Jordan Peterson fan.
Whoa.
And I can't tell you how jealous I am that like y'all got to go see him and meet him.
Yeah, I'm actually really jealous too.
No, you're not.
I've been
Thanks for the
following
invite.
this guy from 2015, and y'all was like, "Oh, I'm gonna DM his daughter, and she's gonna give us tickets, and we're going to go meet this idol of Matthews." Anyways,
First off, Kid was already talking to her. Not like that, you weird internet people. They were being friendly online because we have a podcast, they have a podcast.
you're not using the right words.
And anyways, yes, he mentioned that he was going to be in town and all the tickets are sold out. That's the first thing I was most shook by. Like, I know has what do you call it? Fame?
Huge following, 3 million followers.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, like, we know he has a following, right?
Yeah.
When we walked up, bro, I was like, this is sold out.
Dude, I thought I was going to like a Drake concert or something like that.
Around the corner line. Yeah. And we were like, oh,
yeah,
this is sold out.
This guy's he's got to be one of the. I mean, I think he's gonna be known as one of the major intellectuals of our day. Like
I think he already is.
He is, but
to a
like,
degree.
I think he's gonna be
on that trajectory.
Immortalized. Like the guy is he's just big brain.
Wow.
Like he makes the most intelligent people look silly by his logic, his reasoning. I mean, the way he dissects things. Ugh. Good Lord. But no, was it a sermon? Was it him going over his book? I'm curious to know, like, what was the vibe?
We were curious too. I mean, I didn't know what to think. We roll up and the line is around the building and we're like, it's supposed to start in 15 minutes. We ain't gonna make it. But shout out to Michaela. Michaela, if you're catching this, thank you. She got us in contact with their tour manager. And he full on just came out front, handed us VIP lanyards, tickets, said, hey, afterwards I'll come find you. Like, full on took care of us. And
wow.
So we were like, oh, word. So then we went right in from there too. Like, skip the line even. Sorry, people who were also waiting. That was very kind of you.
This guy's fame muscles.
No, Grant knows how to move in situations like nobody else I've ever seen.
Grant's
my
Kid,
God.
take my hand.
I did. I go. I look at Kid. I looked at Kid, and I go, Kid, here's the deal. Just stick with me, bro.
He's like, I'm not going through this line. We're gonna go right here. And I was just like, all right, if we get called out, we get called out. And then we didn't. So I was like, all right, bless.
Wow.
Yeah. Now we did wait in one line, thinking we needed to for will call, and then that's when he just came out and got us. Anyways, we skipped that. We get inside and we got great seats. I mean, we're right in the middle of the business, up front, stoked. We had the VIP. So then afterwards, we're going to get to stay. We go up, we get a photo with him. And then he does a second Q&A. So the setup is, now I'm joking with his tour manager. I see him and I go, hey, in the intermission, you mind if I climb on the ceiling? Like joking, right? But
Yeah.
honestly, he says yes, though I'm not. He doesn't know that I would, you know.
Send.
And I'm like, you know, and he goes, first, there's no intermission, and I was like, oh, we're in it. You know, I don't know how long. It could be hours. Yeah. And so I joke. He's like, oh yeah, you should. And I'm thinking he doesn't know I will. But anyways, there's no intermission. So he gets up and he starts with point 1 of his book that has 12 points. And he's describing off of this 1 point in depth about it and the knowledge behind that. Assuming he was going to go through more points, he made it through half of 1 point, and it took an hour and a half?
Yeah, but I think because I've read his book, and like he kind of goes over some of the stuff in the book. But I think what he does is the vibe that I caught is he kind of just freestyles like thinking in front of us and showing us how his brain works.
Yeah, it felt like
which was
that.
really cool.
I mean, he tells you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just whatever you think it was, Mona, it was better than that.
Mother. I'm so happy.
No,
Yeah,
I
let's go
honestly
do something amazing and not invite these guys.
Honestly, I tweeted about it, and I don't even tweet.
I was
And
like, you don't tweet.
I don't tweet. And I said,
Whoa,
I'm going to go ahead and tweet. Because he was talking about his
did talk
Twitter.
about Twitter, yeah.
He talked about how he uses his Twitter, and should he only put positive things up? And it's cool how he uses his family, which I thought was really sweet. He uses Michaela, obviously, on stage, there in person, and gives feedback. But also his son will talk to him right after he just did Joe Rogan for 4 hours. And his son listened to it and said, hey, I think you should talk about this. I thought this was not the best way to go about it. And goes through all his points. But it's giving him feedback.
So they're his PR managers, basically.
Well, he is big on that. He described that all types of people, and he'll listen. He says he reads the YouTube comments. He says, you know, one of his biggest stories was about going to Washington and just recently and being on both sides, Republican and Democrat, and hearing and working through things. And that was one of his major points, was to give value to the other person, not dismiss them as like, oh, they're just completely stupid people, or they're
wrong because they believe differently than I believe.
Yes.
You know?
I love seeing that, right? I love seeing, like, there needs to be humanity
Gosh,
in
he
debate,
has so many
right?
points.
Like,
He really did.
shoot.
So one of the things he started, I got the notes too, I can always go back to, but one of the things he started with was talked about being as wise as a serpent and as kind, was it kind
Gentle
as a dove? Gentle as a dove?
Yeah.
And he goes, that's an interesting thing. And he likes to use biblical places to speak. And so he's talking about one, in this idea of a serpent and a dove, you have to know that if you're the dove reaching out to the serpent, it can bite you. But one of the biggest things I liked is he goes, but also remember, you could be the one biting. You could be the snake. So don't write yourself off like you're not the snake in this situation. You know, just try not to be the snake and know that part of it is to be the dove extending and it could bite you. But that's the place where growth happens. That's where he described it as a transformation and something. I have to look at the notes on that one, but he was saying that middle ground of like being really structured and getting stuff done, but like feeling lost versus being transformative and growing, which sounds good, but it can't be everything. You can't always be just blah, blah. There's some goodness to the other too. So
I like that, man. I mean, I like what he's saying about, you know, you reach out and meet people where they are, right? You don't write them off just for like what they believe and whatnot. I mean, that's a very biblical principle, right? Like, look at Jesus and his interactions with people, with like
He hung out with all the wrong people.
yeah, the
according
prostitute
to,
who washed his feet with the oil and everything. He didn't just write her off because she was a prostitute, because she lived a life different than he would have approved. He met her where she was, right? And I love to see those kind of principles coming through in people's, you know, mindsets and their worldview.
yeah, I can tell the points we can kind of talk about. I mean, the number one point that he was going to describe was, and immediately had to Google what these words meant at times. But he said,
that's crazy.
do not carefully denigrate social
Carelessly.
Carelessly. Do not carelessly denigrate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Do not carelessly
yeah.
denigrate social institutions.
Okay.
So I had to look up denigration. What does that mean? And, you know, showing, let's see here.
And like off of just like hearing the word, I kind of felt like it was just like disrespect or discredit. That's kind of where my brain was going to, but I didn't know the actual definition.
Denigrate, criticize unfairly. And so that he talked about the social institutions in a positive way. Now, we've seen the negative way we've used social institutions, and I'll get into that because of the guy we sat next to. So the guy we sat next
Robert, the legend, bro.
Shout out Robert.
Robert was a legend.
Robert the legend.
Robert sat next to us, and maybe one day we'll have Robert on the podcast. But Robert worked security for big events. I'm talking Super Bowl, like big events, and had some of the wildest stories about like how it all worked and everything. But he also knew the tour manager that hooked us up. They've known each other for years, and so we're sitting here telling stories and everything. And he was saying for his son going somewhere that labeling has happened a lot. And that's a negative thing we see in our culture right now. You label something and you're just that, and just, and the
That's
negative
all
side
you are.
You're
You're in that box.
Exactly.
That box will not change.
Now, if I'm understanding this right, I'm not saying this is 100% accurate, but it seemed like what Jordan was wanting to do was promote the positive side of a social institution, which is social institutions are actually how we operate. And without them, there is no gender. It is actually an unsafe place, and it's actually not even a thing anymore. It's okay to have them and then use those to then step in here and listen to others so you understand, but you have a construct.
Okay.
It's not a dismiss of all constructs. So don't,
What would an example of that be, Grant?
Well, I think Grant is what he's saying is like is on point, but an easier way to explain it that I kind of got what I got from it. Maybe we got two different things, but he was kind of saying a lot of people will kind of, for lack of like better verbiage, just shit on institutions or like politicians or just complain or in essence be like, they're all like corrupt and they're all like bad people anyways, but they don't do anything about it. And he was just like, well, instead of just complaining, like, have you tried doing something? Have you tried actively being a politician or doing something to try to make change? Or, I mean, you voted these people in office, right? So it's your fault at the end of the day. So he was big on like taking accountability for the people in office and the institutions that are in place. And he's like, well, those are the things that like we have put in place. So don't just discredit or degrade them or whatever that word was, without knowing that you can make a difference if you tried.
Yeah, so I've always kind of looked at politicians and who we elect as kind of a reflection on society.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you say, oh, well, I didn't know what they stood for and blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, maybe if you did a little research before you went and voted,
Yeah.
maybe you would have known, right? But our society is not big on, doing hard work, doing like the deep dive that's necessary to make an informed decision.
well, I mean, that's what we're hoping to change. What I'm hoping to change is to remind everyone that it is easier to complain than it is to change something, or it's easier to make a judgment than it is to try to change something by your actions of joining something or whatever. And that's very much what he was saying throughout his whole message was join a group. He got into politics at 14, he said, and he had the opportunity and someone showed him, but he said he did it. He decided to. He got in and figured, and and he said these are the wonderful things about America is that we are a socially free place and we can make a choice. So if you don't like it, don't complain, join a group, vote for someone different. And that being like a big push, I thought, pushing people to have responsibility over their actual thoughts instead of just being lazy.
Take ownership of why they're believing what they're believing, and then when you come across another person in a different box or different category, someone you wouldn't normally interact with, instead of just dehumanizing them and like already like value judging them, like having a conversation, entering into a conversation with the sole purpose of understanding instead of just proving someone wrong, And I feel like I wasn't there last night, but that's kind of what I'm getting from this conversation that we're talking about, like bringing the human element back into debates of any kind.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I thought, and I mean, you probably did too.
What?
That we thought we were about to go in a room full of just white dudes in there patting each other on the back for agreeing with the same stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what I thought was going to happen.
I thought most of the audience was going to be just like affluent white male, which it low key kind of was.
I mean, yeah,
like
it's not to say there wasn't
80% was probably like affluent white dudes. I would say.
I mean, there was a good bit of white dudes for sure.
But yeah, there was some like there was some like.
Is there anything wrong with that though?
No, but like we're just saying that like we walked into it with that notion,
Right?
And that's kind of in essence it wasn't. I thought it'd be like 100%. It was
Yeah.
more like maybe 60 or 70ish. But there was also like some like a lot of women. There was also a couple like other groups, but for the most part, I think like Peterson, that's like his kind of his crowd. So.
Well, it doesn't matter to me the gender makeup or any of that. It was really just I didn't know if it was going to be a big pat yourselves on the back rally.
Like we rock.
Yeah, and
Let's
just
go.
everything he
Let's
said,
go
everyone's
us.
like, yeah.
I knew
oh,
it wasn't
yeah.
going to be that because I've listened to a ton of his work and like it was just going to be him like flexing his big brain, which
And
it was.
It was definitely him.
And it was super
thinking
interesting.
out loud.
Yeah, it was super
Wow.
interesting. And because I think like all the shows are different because
Yeah.
like understanding what he did last night and kind of like hearing some of the stuff he did in Austin the 2 nights before, it was like very different. And like, I think he went over like a different rule even in Austin. So I think it's just, he's exercising and showing people how to think almost. Another thing he gets to in a lot is how to raise children, right? I think he touches on that a lot.
Yeah.
Like that's a big, because he's
Yeah.
raised 2 kids and he says like his proudest achievement is like his kids.
Hell yeah.
He literally ended with saying to Michaela that her and her brother were the greatest things
In tears.
ever
That
done
is
in
the
tears.
tears.
Sweetest
It was so
thing.
And then
nice.
stood
Freaking
up
love to see it.
and then stood up and goes, "That's it." And that's how the show ended. I was like,
Wow.
Can I get a hallelujah and an amen?
it was pretty
whiz.
dope. You
How
know,
old are his kids now?
Michaela's what,
'Cause it-
30? I
I
think.
have no idea.
I think she's-
she had a
like
kid when she was
30s,
23,
and then
right?
her brother is, I guess, a couple years older, a couple years younger.
We have no
Yeah.
idea. You're asking us to just
don't know.
guess. at
Okay,
this
well, I
point.
don't know. I don't know how much you guys went into it.
I think
so. He's
she's
got adult
30.
children now, and looking back, he's saying like the greatest thing he ever did was raise them.
He's
And
just proud of them, yeah.
And he has done some amazing stuff. One of the eye-opening things for me too is to understand the depth of work he's already done and that he's expounded on. And one of the questions in I think it was our second Q&A, the secret Q&A. No, it was the first Q&A.
Are you talking about when he was talking about writing his book and like rewriting a sentence like
Someone
100
asked
times?
him. Yeah, someone
That was
asked
crazy.
him. They go,
That was the first Q&A.
yeah, in the first big group Q&A at the end of his sermon, he then, or talk, I don't know what to call it, but someone asked him, is there anything you wrote or thought or believed and now disagree with? And he said he's always trying to better what he wrote. He isn't some of his stuff he doesn't think was wrong or is wrong now. He says that it could be better described or better written.
Okay.
So he went through some of his old stuff, like page, word, line by line, and writes a sentence out and goes, can I write this any better? And the way he was describing it was he would throw everything he can at it and see if it could break. Like just all the thoughts, all the ideas. And then if it can make it, then keep it. And if not, adjust it.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is during his writing process as he's writing a book.
This is his
No, it is
after.
his writing process.
Okay, so he goes back to previous books that
No,
he's
this
written.
is
and,
how he writes books.
Well, this
okay,
is,
so it's part of the process of writing.
He's describing that that's what he was doing for his old. He went back to his old books stuff. Now he might also do that as
No,
his writing.
he was saying that's
Wow.
what he does when he writes the book. I don't think he goes back and tries to change it.
No, that's actually the example he was describing.
Knowing him though, he
Was
probably
it?
does both. Okay.
No, he was saying like
Yeah.
because he was talking about like pushing his limits and like being able to do something that has only been able to do once is like he described like being able to bench press like a certain amount at one point in his life, but never be able to attain that again.
240.
And he was saying with the literature that he wrote in a certain book, I think it was in Beyond Order or the one before that. I think the chapter is called Alchemy, but he was saying in that chapter he wrote it in such a way that like he's never done anything like that that has been like that good apparently. I mean that's kind of like what I got from it. But I think like when he was talking about how he wrote the chapters, like that's how he wrote it. He just like took it sentence by sentence and like threw everything at it, see if a sentence would break. And then when he found like the best sentence, not like the best sentence like that could ever be, but to his best ability, that's the best way the sentence could be written. Then he moved on to like the next one. Because I don't think he would go back and try to rewrite a
stuff
chapter.
right there.
I thought that's exactly what he was describing because the question was, is there anything you've written
No,
before?
because he completely missed the question. Remember? Because then he was like, "What was the question?"
I I believe you're wrong, but let's move on.
But I mean, the guy's so smart that like, I mean, he gets asked a question like in the Q&A, it was like 30 minutes maybe. We asked like 2 questions, like so like in
You
the first.
personally?
No. Like
We thought
they only
about
got
it.
through
We
2
thought about asking
questions.
some stuff.
But like he went through the first questions, which was that question, and then for like 15 minutes he went on a rampage with kind of the stuff I just described.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, wait, what was the question? And then Michaela had to like scroll up and find the question again. And then he was just like, oh, yeah. So he does that a lot. But I mean, I think when you like think that much, it kind of, that's just,
It's like
that's
you
what
hear a
people
question
want.
and it opens like a whole entire like vault of information relating to that topic.
This guy probably operates on such like a
I mean,
different level mentally than
He
anybody
brought-
in this room.
he brought up this buddy of his that he was going to come back to, that he was like, oh, Greg. And then he must have gone, oh, yeah, and Greg, like 4 times when he was trying to
He
tell us
goes
a
on
story
rabbit
about
trails,
Greg.
yeah.
Like 4 times had to hop back. And, you know, it was great because he would end somewhere that was valuable. It was always this beautiful ending, but then he'd be like, oh, yeah, and I was telling a story about Greg. And then I don't even know if I got the full story of Greg. I did get that he came a representative Democratic group and how he went back, and then the stories about how taking a bath after that and how that's not, you know, that whole thing. But also like it was wild. It was way more interesting and thought provoking and enjoyable and all these different things than I thought. I mean,
yeah. I like afterwards, you
was
like,
it now?
afterwards you just kind of want to watch like trash TV and not think anymore. Cause for like a good like hour and a half, you're just like brains just like, oh my God, think.
no, dude, I was the opposite. I was like, let me have a deep convo. Luckily, Robert's there, and I look at Robert. I said, "What do you think, man?" And he immediately just started firing. Like he's like, "Well, my wife's not here, and I, talked about this and what she thought and why she didn't come." And then he talked about his son and being in university and how he disagreed maybe with one of the statements that Jordan made about that there's no conservatives in universities. But then immediately agreed that he knows that probably was just rhetoric to get a point across, and that it's not necessarily 100% accurate, that there's 0 conservative people in universities, but he can use that generalization at times to say, hey, overwhelmingly, there's more Democratic teaching in universities than conservative.
I would agree with that.
And that's kind of a stylistic approach. So he got that. He understood that and said, but, and I thought that's intelligent of you to be able to recognize it's just a rhetoric he's using.
Yeah.
But we just started kicking off, and then
What happened then?
Young man on the pills, or no, the paper showed up.
so the deal was we're sitting there talking to Robert. We're talking about, do we think Jordan is Christian or not? Because we're not sure. He speaks from so much Christian place, but the Bible actually is a very strong book alone, apart from any religious anything. It's a book of our history that's got a lot of teachings, ideas, and thoughts mixed in. So he teaches from it and through it at times. Well, from it. So we're talking about it. We're talking about from a Christian point of view what we think, and we're asking Robert, and this
Homie pulls up, and I think
just like this. He's just like,
he just slides into the conversation, and he's literally just like, I heard something I liked and I want to join this. And I was like, all right.
we're like, okay.
So third person jumps into the group now?
Fourth.
Yeah,
Fourth
well,
person.
it's
Who is
us.
this fourth man?
Yeah, it's us plus Robert.
Homie looks like he's just like rolled out of like his dorm room and just pulled up to this thing.
And
Like,
I full on slides up in. I mean, just as like, and he goes, I heard the topic you were speaking on and I wanted to join.
Was he like? You said like he rolled out of his dorm room. But was like, yeah, dude.
no,
I
he
wanna
wasn't
join
like that.
this
He
topic, bro.
looked like, no, he wasn't like that kind of guy, but
Okay.
he was.
I mean, cool guy.
Yeah,
Like,
he was a cool dude, but he rolled up and we start talking, and then he kind of just sits there for like a good 5 minutes. He doesn't say anything. He's just listening. And then I think Robert was like, hey, so like, what did you think? Why'd you come out here? Kind of trying to bring him in the conversation.
Yeah.
And homie's just like, I just wanted to take LSD and listen to Jordan Peterson live. And that's what I did. And we're like, so you're tripping right now, are you? He's like, yep. Just took it like about an hour ago and it lasts for 8. And I'm like, wow, this guy's tripping.
Wow.
yeah, I was like, what? Not the thing I would be going for. But again, the whole idea that Jordan was wanting to communicate, well, not the only thing, but one of the big things is that to have conversations and to think and to hear from the other side. And I described to this this young man.
Young man.
Yeah, he's 23. You're
my
23,
age,
bro.
yeah.
I'm 33. This
Very
is a young
different
man to
places,
me.
yeah.
Wow.
And I described to this young man like, hey, one of the approaches I take and I would like to be better at is completely sober life living, because I feel like life's thoughts and questions are hard enough with a sober mind to take on and figure and make sense of it all. I'm not, everything even down to too much caffeine. If I have too much caffeine, I'm thinking even overly and it's hard. So I have an approach. I'm not saying his is anything on his, but to take LSD, I was like, man, to take LSD and to try to take in these topics, is that not too much? And he honestly was able to say like, yeah, honestly, these are thought provoking enough that you don't need LSD or anything. You could just come and be stimulated by this knowledge. And I was like, that's actually impressive that you are on LSD.
He
and you
only
can register
he only
that.
broke once. Like most of the time he looks sober, but then at one point he just goes like, and then I was just
saw
like,
that.
there he goes.
Yeah.
And then like that was it. And I was like, damn, this guy's stone cold.
Yeah. He did have this like kind of look to him like,
Yeah. He was just like, does
Where
anybody
am
know?
I? What am I doing here?
No, he was very like present minded.
He probably was in a different like stratosphere of like
was just-
thought.
he was in a
Probably
different
was just,
realm
like,
than us.
Yeah, he was just on a different wavelength.
He was speaking through like,
Yeah.
it was definitely wild. We were all like, oh, word? Like when he
I
was
just
like,
didn't expect that, bro. I
Yeah.
expected it. I actually expected him to be like confrontational because I think he heard you talk about like I think right when he walked past you, you were talking about like Islam or Muslims or something like that. And I thought he was probably like Islamic or Muslim and he was gonna pull up and just try to like debate. But it was just left field. He's like, nah, I'm just on LSD, I'm tripping balls. And I was like, oh.
welcome.
Word.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people in there were tripping. Maybe do you think it was just
I would
him?
imagine less than you might think.
I was so
Given the
shocked.
nature of
Probably
the-
some pot involved, I would think.
No.
Oh yeah.
You think so?
Oh, dude, working in corporate America, you'd be
Working
you
in
wouldn't
corporate
like you'd
It
be
was
su-
big corporate America in there, bro.
You'd be surprised how many of those guys
Oh,
smoke
yeah.
a stogie before they go.
Stogie.
Not
Someone
stogie.
doesn't smoke weed.
I don't smoke weed.
I don't even
whenever
smoke weed, and I know
whenever
it's
they
not a
do,
stogie.
like I had one guy I knew, and he would just like smoke a joint before coming into work, just take
Yeah,
the
I
edge
mean,
off.
Definitely people's MO.
Yeah, fair. No, but there was a lot of very just affluent people in there. Like whether they were white or not, it was just like people in there had like money and you could tell we're like going to like big schools.
Well, I feel
and
like you're gonna attract, like if you are an affluent person, you're going to attract that kind of some person who enjoys being like affluent.
I
or
mean, yeah,
thinking
but-
big, right? Like,
if you're like a philosopher type,
yeah, you're gonna attract those kind of people. Like,
yeah,
you attract what you put out, right?
fair.
Yeah, I definitely can't say enough about how it was actually, and that's what I tweeted was like, I cannot believe I decided to come to a lecture.
We thought we were gonna
and
leave
I'm not
early,
in college
potentially.
anymore. Yeah, and I was like, I remember leaving college and going, I'm not doing that anymore ever
Wow.
again. And
this
then I'm
was-
like, chose to go to a lecture and loved it and
This was
enjoyed
different
it.
than any
Great.
lecture I ever had in college.
Well,
let's
it's
be fair.
dope.
It's crazy because like what you're describing is this open-minded, just like super kind guy who just giving his take on life, right?
He was
Like,
actually so like when we did meet him for like the few like not even a minute probably
Seconds,
we took a
yeah.
Polaroid picture with him actually, which was really cool.
That was a
I saw
smooth
that,
move,
yeah.
bro.
Yeah, it was sick.
We just did 150 plus photos of people, and then we had to teach his tour manager how to use the Polaroid camera. He's like, I was alive when this first was a real thing, and I was like, oh, that's right. We don't need to tell him.
But no, like that was he seems like a very like genuine, like emotional kind of guy who's like he actually wanted to like connect with fans. And I think outside like the show started late because he was outside like just talking with people.
that's dope.
So yeah,
Wow.
he's a real good dude.
Well, and the sad thing is like he's a good dude, and like, but he was labeled as like an alt-right fanatic because of his views on certain things. Like,
Yeah.
like the left like labeled him as this just like terrible person, and I think like it really, because he's such a feeler. Like you said, you met him, just a kind dude. Like it hit him very hard from what I remember
I don't
reading
know if
about
criticism is what got to him.
I don't think it's criticism. I think it's people like he was talking about labeling, right? And all that stuff. Like he got labeled as that, right? He got labeled
but
as
I
this
mean,
extremist.
I think a guy talked about like in the second group, he talked about like haters and people like talk bad about. I don't
He asked
remember what his answer to that was. though.
Haters
What you
gonna
should
hate.
do with it, but it was really hard to hear. It, for the
there was no
VIP
mic.
one was tough, and we were also. To be honest, I was over there making jokes with the tour manager because
You were
Robert and him were good buddies, and I was like, He said that the tour manager used to do stand up comedy, so I'm back over there trying to do some stand up, and I'm like, oh yeah, we need to go say what's up to Jordan too.
Yeah.
Jordan's on stage. I mean, he's doing his thing. He's on stage. He's got
couldn't hear him.
150 more people out there. Just doing this super.
But the big thing though, like, is
Q&A.
I feel like we went, in essence, like our objective was to network. Like that was our main objective, right? Like when I was going there, I was just like, I mean, going, and I feel like as a team, network wise, like we're actually like very, very fired together.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty smooth.
Because he like compliments like all of my stuff. Because I don't want to like talk to people and just be like blah blah blah, but like Grant does, so he'll kind of open up with that, and then I can get more like introspective on stuff. So no, it's a very good combination.
Imagine if all 4 of us had been there.
Nah, you just need me and Grant, bro.
Yeah,
you don't need to
it's
be
just
there.
two. It's just two.
It's a 2-man team.
Joe, did you talk about what we picked up on the way out and what they were for? If I can get his most mysterious. Remember we waited around for something?
The
sh-
poster?
Was it weed?
Did you
Poster?
LSD.
No, he doesn't care about it. He was just.
Oh, word?
Yeah, he was
Dang,
just like,
I thought we were going to
he
surprise him on
literally-
camera.
Dude, no, Matt, I go, like, I got you a signed poster. Matt goes, what am I going to do with a signed poster? Just
Aw,
put it up in
dang.
my
Is that-
house?
is that- We waited,
Is that what I
bro.
sound like? No, don't get me wrong. Like, I
Oh,
appreciate
no, we already
the-
got
No,
you
he didn't,
wrong,
dude.
bro.
When I told
We
him
already
about
got you
it,
wrong.
he didn't care, bro. He literally like dissed me. He was like, "Oh, thanks, kid, a poster." I was like,
a
"Dang."
poster. I'd rather eat the
hold up.
flakes of this
Hold up,
couch.
though. Kid's not giving y'all the right color on this situation. He had just gotten finished talking to me about how great it was to meet Jordan Peterson in person.
Oh, he's butthurt.
And then he's like, "Oh," he goes,
this
and he
dude
goes, "Oh, but I got you
booty
a
hurt.
poster." He goes, "Oh, but I got you a poster." I'm like,
Matt,
"Yeah."
I told you I'd try to get you tickets, but you're like, "It's my anniversary."
Oh no, I mean,
Would you go?
Well, at
I'll
least he
try to
told
work.
you about it, Matt.
what?
Do you want to go?
At least he told you about
No,
it.
dude, for the
do.
record,
I really
he
do.
mentioned like, man, I really wanted to get Mona in here and blah, blah, blah. And that's the thing for me is I
on, man.
wanted to figure out a way to, even down to when I'm talking to the tour manager, I want to tell them legit thank you. And I know that people give Jordan and Michaela stuff all the time. And the last thing I want to do is heap up something else. He goes, Jordan gets so many books from people. He's like, he can't
would
stay on the
hate
road
that.
with all these books, and people bring amazing books. Like he said, like old historic Qurans and stuff. But he can't travel with all these books. And I go, that's the last thing I want to do. But can you tell me what it would be a good gift?
Meat crisps.
Yeah, I go, what can I bring to him that I can say, hey, thank you. Just so you know, I thought about you in a way that you don't got to carry this either. And he actually said carnivore crisps because they eat meat. It's carnivore crisps, some kind of
Yeah.
like meat.
Have you had those?
No,
Tater
but I
chip.
want to.
And then he goes, or lamb. Michaela eats a lamb. I was like, oh, what do you want
Just
to
like
freeze it?
frozen, like
You want me to
freeze
bring
packed
a lamb? I
you
bring
need
a
to, like,
full-on lamb.
smoke a big old leg of lamb and bring it up
What
to her
about
fresh.
just a live lamb?
Do with it what you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said, and then we go, steaks. You want to, do you get a gift card to someone? He goes, no, don't. They don't need money. They don't need. And I'm like, cool. I just want to know. I've never gotten to be at an event like this and then tried to say thank you with someone who's too busy, honestly, for me to genuinely say thank you to in a meaningful way, other than when we shook his hand for a second, take a photo, and I say, hey, thank you so much. We appreciate you. I want to get him a gift, and I just didn't know what to get. Carnivore crisp.
So anybody who's going to see Peterson on his tour, you want to get him some carnivore crisps?
And tell him you heard it from the Kinda Nice podcast.
There you go. This guy's thinking ahead.
Tell them the Ninja Warriors on Kinda Nice podcast told you. But honestly, that's a pro tip right there. If you do go and you want to, give them something nice,
So,
they can't travel with all these big gifts. It's very kind. But just know that they do eat a lot of meat.
So if Sage and I go for our anniversary, because that's what it would be on our anniversary night, I bring those carnivore crisps. I'm like, hey, this is from the Kind of Nice podcast. Grant and Kid say hey.
He wouldn't know who Grant and Kid are.
Yeah,
Grant and Kid
definitely
and
wouldn't.
Daniel.
There's so many
He
people.
definitely would know who I am.
Well,
Unless he watches Ninja Warrior, in which
Just
case he
say,
might.
maybe you say like
maybe.
the ninjas or I don't know. Nah. But
Did I invite him
heard
to
you
come
like
do Ninja
meat.
Warrior?
I was like, Grant was like
Did
big
you?
on like,
Did I invite him?
he
Yes,
kept
I
telling-
did. Yes, I did.
I was
Hey,
like,
yo.
I tried to tell him it's not the move. I'm like, bro, this man ain't trying to do no salmon ladder. But he's like, I'm going to do it anyways. I was like, all right,
I told Kid this though. I was like, honestly, in the things that I have, athletics is a big thing that I have, and I can tune down or up any kind of workout from ninja to running to lifting to CrossFit to whatever. So I tried to say, and this is how I positioned myself. I said, hey man, I really respect you and I appreciate what you're doing here. Also, just know if you're in Houston, I don't know how long you guys are here and need a place to work out, let me know. If you want to try Ninja even, you're welcome, right? just that I wanted
What
to
did he
offer
say?
something.
Please tell me what he said.
I think he just laughed.
"You're the guy who fell on the salmon ladder.
No.
Piss
No,
off."
he didn't. No, he didn't. He just laughed and was like,
You know, I think you'd have more of a chance getting like Michaela to come work out, right? Like she's
Maybe.
like big into fitness. I don't know about fitness, but she's been in that healthy
You like
lifestyle
fitness, Matt,
stuff. Yeah. Nope. Stop that. Stop that.
Stay
No.
out of there, dude.
No.
"You're big into fitness."
Nope. I'm not into big fitness. Hate fitness.
Hey, fitness.
I
Yeah,
couldn't.
it's the worst.
Yeah, couldn't be me.
Bring it back. All right.
Bring it back.
So-
Dial it back in.
Yeah, no, I put that out there because again, sometimes you just got to offer what you have. I can't go,
Yeah.
yo, let me give you one of my lectures. Like, you know,
Let me
hear my
give you
crap.
one of my
You know what I
lectures.
mean?
He's like, "What?"
It's like my knowledge base is in athletics, and he just talked about working out in this talk, and I go, well, maybe he is here. And when I travel, I want a place to work out. So
You know what you should have done? You should have been like, "Bro, if you're trying to break that 240 threshold, let me tell you something. I got
I was
you."
like, you trying to hit that 250, boy?
And then do the little check. Yeah.
Whoa.
That could, yeah, but that'd have to be.
Chance.
That'd have to be you,
Break
bro.
that 250
Oh,
though.
I can get him to break that.
Are you gonna
240.
peg bounce on Jordan Peterson?
Hell yeah. If he uses that analogy,
You got to wear your suit if you go. He's big into dudes with suits.
It's not
'Cause he
he's
talks
into
about it.
dudes with suits.
phrasing, phrasing, kid.
Yes, but
phrasing
that
is
sounded
everything.
weird.
No,
But
he
that's a
talks
good
about
point.
how his dad like wore suits and he was like a sixth grade teacher and he wore suits because he, out of respect for the kids he was teaching, he put time and energy into how he looked.
Wow.
And that followed with him. So like Peterson wears like a 3-piece suit on all of his lectures, and then he talks about how he's like inspired a lot of these younger guys,
Young
not
professionals.
kids, but yeah, most people who come to the lectures, like a lot of them were just in suits. And he he says he loves like seeing that a lot of the guys will come up to him and be like, "Hey, this is the first suit I ever buy, and I bought it just to come see you." So that,
I'd
he
be lying if I said that.
He also mentioned
no, don't say that.
He mentioned to the crowd multiple times, like, think like it's great to see you all dressed up nice. Like, not just it's great to see you, which he also did, but he said like looking so nice and dressed up. Like he actually acknowledged the crowd in that way. But one of the cool things was he mentioned that the suit, first off, is a military uniform. They're at the original bit of it all. And I was like, oh, okay. And he kind of blitzed past that
didn't even know
topic. And I was like, that's kind of crazy. But anyways, we moved past that. And he described that there's a distinction that you can create when you dress, in this case with a suit on stage. And he said, now, I'm teaching at universities and whatnot. He said he wanted to create a separation from the crowd and himself visually when they see look at what he's wearing and whatnot. And he goes, hopefully it's an indicative of something, because otherwise, what are you doing? I thought it was hilarious the way he described that. He was like, hopefully the person there knows more than you and is going to show you something. Otherwise, what are you doing there? You shouldn't be there listening if they don't know more than you, essentially. And so that was funny, but it creates the visual distinction difference there to say, they came up dressed and nice, and that's something we don't talk
perception
about.
is
It doesn't
everything.
you don't look just like Joe Nobody just walking out from on the street. And you're like, well, who are you? And like, why do you have like why should I be listening to you? But I mean,
But I don't necessarily agree with that.
Like you come out in like your royal garb and it's like, oh, here's the address from
I don't
so-and-so.
necessarily agree with that, because literally, like, assuming you have some money, literally anybody could go buy like a nice suit and look really professional.
But do they?
But people don't do that though.
No, people
They
do.
100% do. People like
I'm with Grant.
con men and stuff?
Matt.
No, the thing is,
Yeah, people will look
They
real nice
create-
and just be real dumb.
they create.
I've known quite a
it
few of
doesn't-
them.
The point he was making is that clothing doesn't create intelligence, is that it creates a distinction, a difference. And even the people that are dumb, you're like, oh, he's got a suit on. The distinction
You
still
stand out
happens.
for sure, but I don't agree that like I'm not gonna personally, because that's like his view, right? But personally, I'm not gonna like judge somebody who has a suit, somebody who doesn't have a suit, and be like, I'm gonna take advice from the guy in the suit more than the other guy. Because I mean, like, look at like Zuckerberg or like some of these guys literally that have a wardrobe full of like 10 gray t-shirts.
Black shirt.
Yeah,
Black shirt.
like
I
jeans.
subtly do it though, and one of my buddies sent me a video the other day. This guy, I guess he's some big YouTube guy that talks about finances, right? And he sent it to our group text. So I was like, I'll at least listen to it because he was trying to make a point. I listened to it. It was a waste of 15 minutes of my life. His only point was spend less money, essentially. And I'm like, and he goes, look at me. I live on 5% of my wealth, and this is a billionaire. And I'm like, cool
Talking about
story, bro.
Zuckerberg?
No, this guy that sent me this video, right?
Oh.
But I judged him. I judged him on a couple of things. And more than its clothes, clothes. He was kind of leisurely, and I was like, and I wish I wouldn't, but there was some like, well, I kind of like disregarded him a little bit for that, but more somebody's posture and somebody's vernacular, I will fully, I don't want to say judge them, but I will disregard statements from them because I'm like, I already start to write them off versus make a positive distinction.
You shouldn't do any of that, I don't think. I mean, I think
context clues, man. I think it's okay to do it.
I'm kind of torn on the subject because like on one point, perception is everything, right? Like that first impression is what will stick with people. At the same time, some of the wisest things I have heard are from people that I wrote off as dumb because the way they looked right off the bat.
But like some people don't like. Some people wearing suits and people that want to look nice, like they're kind of looking to be that. But like some of the guys who are wise and maybe don't want to like mentor you and like answer a bunch of your questions, they're not looking for that attention. They don't want that smoke. So they're just gonna be like, I'm gonna wear this black shirt, these jeans, and these sneakers, and I'm good. I'm gonna go out like that. So that's why, like,
I think to dumb it down to, or to take it down to our generation is for him to wear a suit was the thing. Back then, to wear a suit was the thing. Very few times does anyone wear a suit now. Now that was business even. My dad wore a tie to work every day. I remember always tie. No one wears ties anymore.
Yeah,
right?
it's changed a lot.
So when we come down, we're talking about someone even wearing nicer athleisure wear to speak than torn up holes in their outfits, leisure wear.
Wait, hold up. But then again, ties are out of fashion.
But we're three guys who aren't in like corporate America with normal jobs. If we talk to Matt, he might have a different view on that.
Everybody wears ties.
Yeah. In our world, nobody wearing ties. In his world, everybody tied up.
Dang, that sucks.
But I do agree with you that it's because you could see like in some corporations, their corporate culture doesn't require that anymore. Like you're completely right on that. That has changed. Before there was like the base norm. Now I think some corporations are changing the way that they're like, hey, you can kind of wear jeans on Fridays or things like that.
Google and Facebook and all these more tech companies,
especially tech companies. Yeah, absolutely.
Tech companies, they're very just like, hey man, come to work in pajamas if you want to.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter. But in tech companies, I think the differentiator there is in tech companies, you're not like pitching to people and meeting people and networking. It's like you're going in and coding, so it doesn't matter. If you are a guy that's going to be networking and pitching to people, then they probably dress a little nicer.
I don't know. Like for a tech company to actually be successful, you have to like you're pitching.
No, but I'm saying the job different. Yeah, but the guys who are showing up in pajamas,
about the coders, the coding monkeys.
The guys in pajamas can show up and just code.
I think too, one of the things about this outfit thing that we're talking about is the difference between wanting someone to take you a certain way and then not. Because like, Zuckerberg probably doesn't, walking on the street, does not want me coming up to him going, Zuckerberg, tell me something. He's like, I just want to buy my groceries or whatever, right?
That guy doesn't buy groceries. Well, he's an Android, bro.
He definitely is.
That guy plugs into the wall.
He doesn't even eat food.
Need to recharge low on battery.
But when you are a professor, you want your students to take the liberty of assuming you are smarter than they are.
Yeah. No, that's the good point to.
And you're not going to do that by wearing a hoodie and sweatpants.
Because what it'll do is incline them to already start the opposite, which is maybe they're not smarter, and
especially in the beginning,
and that can be a difference maker. Is all.
Dang perception.
Because sometimes we what you were describing, that there's someone you meet that gave you the best advice you ever had that you didn't think because you disregarded them as stupid, whatever. It happens after being in conversation with them. It takes after being there around it. And then you're like, oh, wow. To get there, though, you have to get past that initial meeting and then see what comes.
Do you think the way, like, say Jordan Peterson and his 3-piece suit thing, right? Do you think that actually alienates him from some people actually listening to him? Because people don't care about that. I think there are certain demographics and certain age groups that like see him in a 3-piece suit, like, I don't care what you have to say.
Because he has a 3-piece suit on?
Yeah, I'm sure there are some for sure. But I think by and large, like what we said earlier, like you're setting yourself up to attract a certain
like one or two
crowd and demographic. And I mean, obviously he's a high intellectual. And so anyone else who's, wanting to be an intellectual sees that and is like, oh, he fits the mold of what I think, I would like to be someday. And he's talking the right talk. And obviously I'm taking one look at him and he looks the part.
Yeah.
So
I've always said this based off of my grandfather, who has always dressed really nice and always had different colognes that were nice and always had his hair combed.
Smelled nice.
The dude just shout out Daddy Pat, because he is on it, and his whole life still always dressed nice, right? And I've never seen someone complain about someone dressing too nice. You never see someone show up and go, oh my gosh, look at how good their outfit is, and they smell so great. Like, this is ridiculous.
I don't think he'd complain, but imagine like Matt invites me to like one of his daughter's birthday parties, and I show up in a 3-piece suit with like
It's also knowing
a
the
pocket
scene,
watch.
like knowing where you're
No,
going.
that's what I'm saying. I don't think anybody would complain, but people would be like, are you going somewhere after this? Like, why are you dressed like this? But yeah, no, they wouldn't complain.
But there's just no negative there. It's just like,
I mean, no, but I think there is. Like,
I think
people would
there
still
is,
judge you, be like, what
absolutely.
the heck is this guy on? Like, why is he dressed like this?
No, I 100% have talked to people who have said like this guy over here dressed up like he's something special.
Yeah,
Right?
overdressing.
Like, I think overdressing is definitely a thing.
Yeah.
And like people key in on that, especially the people like I used to hang out with. There's like, if you're trying too hard,
Absolutely.
that's what people key in on. Are you trying too hard?
yeah, but
Right.
that comes down to them telling on themselves.
No,
Because Jordan is intelligent, and it will be tested by his knowledge
I don't
base.
disagree with you. I'm saying, like, do you think you can turn people off to your initial message by overdressing or over presenting yourself?
I mean, I think
And
a very small amount of people, but sure.
I think you can.
I don't think you can, and I think because you have to hear from them before you can then actually write them off, because I've had people who tried too hard and they gave themselves away because the try hard came when I go, okay, they're dressed up really nice, or something seems off, or well, this is a lot, but I'm then listening to their initial pitch and I go, oh, they're unintelligent.
They're a poser.
And I'm like, you're overdoing it. You're trying too hard. Now I know
Sure.
you're trying too hard. Otherwise, if someone dressed nice and I go, something's up here, and I go, oh, whoa, this is very smart conversation. This is actually really well thought out. This is put together really well. I'm not like, you're trying too hard with your outfit. I'm thinking,
I mean, to be fair, to summarize this entire topic, like, just don't judge people off their appearance. Like, that's
Like,
Don't
tried
judge a
and
book
true.
by its cover.
Yeah.
Right?
label them.
Nah, it's
Nah, it's
actually
not really so much a
judging.
label.
going back to
everyone
labeling.
should judge everyone.
Going to labeling, Robert made it like, I think one of the first things we talked to
Don't do
Robert
that.
about was he was just like, yeah, I hate labels. I hate that people label themselves as conservative and as liberals or as like right or left wing, just all labels. He was just like, people are just on different spectrums, on different like areas in life. And he's like, labels can immediately make people like be turned off something. Like, you immediately meet somebody and be like, because of their label, you're like, oh, you're a Republican, I don't like you, or you're a Democrat, I don't like you, like vice versa, right? But I don't necessarily like he was hard up against like no labels, but I think labels have their place, right? I think you need
No,
labels.
I don't know. Well, Robert was against labels.
Yeah.
But the thing that Jordan was talking about is that we shouldn't completely destroy any social construct, and labels and can be a negative social construct, but that there is a way of at least whenever you decide something, it in some ways labels you that. If you go, for me, I believe in Christ, I believe he died for my sins, that makes me a Christian. Now you label that you're a Christian. That's not, to me, not a bad thing. It is what I am. I am a Christian. I am also more. I also am willing to talk to other people and have conversations. That doesn't mean I'm going to change maybe that core belief, but there's a label part of that. And I don't think that that's wrong to go, I have this belief that is titled Christianity. And I think that's one of the points Jordan was making about not just denigrating all social constructs, is that would be a social construct that's something you can have and you can operate from.
Yeah.
But it's negative when you go, I label me as this and now I can't do anything else, or and
I
one
am
of the
only
things
this.
and
Yeah.
he talked to, and that was one of the cool things that Michaela brought up. And when she got on stage, she had 3 points, and I loved one of them. The first one I think was, I don't pay attention to stupid rules.
Wow.
And I was like,
She also said, have kids as soon as you can.
yeah, she.
Somebody
That
tell
was
my
one
wife
of her
that,
literal
please.
points.
I agree with
she
her
didn't-
on that
she didn't-
second point.
I don't think she said have kids as soon as you can, but she said to encourage people.
Don't delay.
If you have kids, it doesn't make your whole life end. She's like, you can work it around. She said, yes, for a mom, there's a couple years there where this human is attached to you, but there's ways to still do life. And that
Yeah,
was her
yeah.
encouragement to people.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I totally
was her
agree.
third point?
Don't wait.
Because I think we live in a generation now that's like scared of that.
Well,
or, like,
everybody's scared of it. Like
Yeah.
they're all like, "Oh, I want to wait till I'm financially, ready for
Stable
that.
and-
I want to wait till like I get all this out of the way." I'm like, "No, you will always find an excuse. You will always find an excuse."
Well, that's what Jordan actually talked about too. Was someone asked when's the best time to have kids, and he is like, "What a horrible question." There's no. There's
said
no,
that?
No. I'm just
no,
paraphrasing.
He said it more intellectually.
He joked
didn't
right
say
off
that
the
either.
bat something like,
He pretty much said like never.
"Yeah, this is like an
Yeah.
unsolvable kind of question, kind of thing." Like,
But he did
I don't
give
wanna
like
put words in his
he
mouth.
gave baselines. He was just like, make sure you're not going to starve, right? So don't
Yep.
have a kid if like you're not ready to have a kid and you're like financially unstable. He's like, make sure you trust your partner, right? Make sure you're like fundamentally know that you're ready to like engage in this activity of like bringing a human to life with somebody that you trust. And then there's a third one that is slipping.
yeah, all I know is everyone who's listening to this podcast, it was super enjoyable to go. I would recommend you go. Also know that we're trying to secondhand tell you what we heard.
Yeah, I was
and there
thinking
may
that.
be something lost in translation. I speak Spanish, but it's not grade A Spanish or catching B Spanish for me. So know that if I'm ever translating something, you're catching B
No,
plus.
I was gonna wrap up saying pretty much like this episode is probably, if you're not into Jordan Peterson, maybe this has interested you in it, but like don't take anything that we've said for something that he said, because it's like
Yes.
playing telephone. But
Definitely.
if you're interested in anything we've been talking about, go check him out. Go check out Michaela. Shout out to her again for the tickets. Super fun. Hopefully we may go back when they come back in February.
Hopefully we all go back.
We can all
No.
go together.
Yeah, me and Kid will go for sure. and
Yeah,
tell
we'll
you
go for
guys
sure.
about
We'll
it.
go. No, it was good, bro.
Hey, we'll tell you guys how
he's
it
trolling.
went.
He's in.
You guys are dead
I
to
will
me.
Rocky. I will Rocky.
No, honestly, and I don't know how this goes out to anyone, but if you guys hear this, man, we did have a blast. Thank you guys for having us. We'd actually love to bring all the boys and do it up big. But thank you, and especially thank you to the road manager, the
John,
tour
yeah.
manager, John,
He's a sweetheart.
for being the man.
Get him out to the ninja gym, y'all.
No.
Let's follow up on that.
You guys are too big on trying to bring out people in the ninja gym.
I just wanted to offer what I got.
that are athletes.
Hey, they might find it fun. It's all I'm
Maybe to
saying.
watch.
It
but
is fun.
Yeah,
It is, I agree.
If Jordan invited me to a library, am I going to go? No, I'm not. I don't like
that's facts.
libraries
That's
like
facts.
that. I mean, it just is what it is. He's smart.
If
Like
Jordan
I
Peterson
like to
asked
lift
me to go
weights
to
too.
a library, I'd be like, hell yes, because
Nah,
we're going
actually,
to
I'd
talk
go. Of
about
course
some
I'd go.
cool stuff.
I would love to go.
But moving on from Jordan Peterson, we'll talk about a few more things so that this whole episode isn't just us trying to reconvene some of the stuff he said. So when you go and eat with somebody, and let's say it's specifically a date, right? I feel like I prefer sitting like not necessarily next to. Hold on. Let me
How did
finish,
we
dog.
get
I'm
here?
not gonna
Keep
ruin your
going,
story,
keep
bro.
going.
So
Yeah.
say you have a square table, right? I would prefer sitting like at the diagonals versus across, because across is like you're like making eye contact like the whole time, and you can't really like people, because I like people watching too. So it's just like you're very engaged.
Sure.
I think when I go on like on a first or second date or like first people, like I'm on the vibe of like trying to be like next to them more than like across from them. Yeah. Grant's against that. Grant wants to be across and just staring into their face the whole time.
No.
That's weird.
Don't you set me up like
you're
that.
weird, bro.
I would say this every time I eat, and it is true. Every time I eat, I want to look at the person. I'm not there to people watch. I'm not there.
trying to
I'm
stare into
definitely not to
people's
watch
eyes
TV. I want to be looking at their face, and I want my 90% of my view to be them, so that I am engaged with them. I'm asking them questions. I'm enjoying it. I'll do the corner, where you're this way.
Corner's the move.
But I would rather go full face to face for sure, because then I'm seeing you, I'm talking to you, I'm here to eat with you, especially on a date.
Daniel, what?
Now,
Okay.
I want to.
what about this though, you
Wait,
psychopath? We go after a podcast down in Nico's. Shout out Nico's, right? I got paid. I was like, yo, come with me. It's on your boy. Let's eat.
Shout
right?
out the military.
We ordered all this food. The military just paid me for the jumping off the planes with them. The money came through. Shout out to the Army. Go check my videos on YouTube and my Instagram. It was dope.
Boy plugging.
So we go we're eating on this military money, and I go to sit down. Your boy sits right next to me.
It's a booth.
like this.
Yeah, but
Envision,
because
envision.
I didn't want to sit in the chair. I was like, I want the booth, bro.
With a whole other booth across from you?
No,
Like
no.
a whole other
It's-
bench
It's like a
across from
half
you?
booth and then chairs on the other side.
Oh.
And this is what happens. I'm like, okay, this is weird. I was like, I'd rather look at you, but I get it. You want people watching. I was like, okay, we're just sitting, talking and chilling. I go to lean over to eat. He leans over to eat as well this way. Next thing I know, we're doing this, and I'm going, this wouldn't happen if you were sitting there.
Okay, the reason that happened though, in my defense, is because I took my plate out of the
you sat
tray.
next to him in
No,
the
because he brought the tray, and we like both left our plates in the tray. So the tray's in the middle of the table, so we're kind of leaning on the tray. So then I grab my plate and I go to the corner, and I'm leaning outside only.
Now we're sitting at this table like that, and I was like, and one of the kids at the table right in front of us comes up to me, and the parent asks, are you the guy from American Ninja Warrior? And you see the kid in the background. I'm like, yeah. And the kid's like, yeah. And then he like comes around and wants to get a photo or whatever. And I'm like, all good. We know how it is. Like, and so we take a picture, do the whole thing. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, this with kid. And I'm like, they definitely think we're together. And I was like, this is on you, kid. This is on
I was
you.
comfortable with it. Do you agree with me on this situation?
Kid,
or
I am on your side on this.
Thanks,
because I'm a psycho. Like Sage and I, when we are eating, we would never sit across each other.
That's
We
psychotic
cuddle.
because
to
you
me.
want to be close and cuddle.
We cuddle.
Okay, now I
That's
feel
different.
weird now.
It's your
Yeah.
boy,
No,
and
yeah,
I'm
no.
trying to get to know this
You made it
girl on a
worse for
first
me,
date
bro.
or
I'm
something.
sorry, bro, but
But
like,
even on first dates, you didn't cuddle with her on the first date at food. No
Big
way.
Mona would eat the food out of her mouth after she chewed it up if that was an option.
That's
we went all
graphic,
we went
dog.
penguin on that thing. She went.
That's graphic, dog.
He couldn't. If he could be closer, he would, bro.
Bro, I can't
Guys.
get close.
So you were across
No.
first dates?
No.
Okay, thank God.
Oh,
it's
man.
weird,
Guys,
right?
guys,
It's like
guys.
too much.
Across
Why
is the
is that
stupidest
a
thing.
weird-
Call me traditional, but I see
Traditional.
no greater joy than taking someone out on a date for the very first time
Okay.
and having
And
that
staring into their
intentional
soul.
intimacy of putting all the focus on that person, no other outside distractions. We're looking at each
Let's
other.
go, baby!
We're thinking about the
guys
future.
are
We're
weirdos.
enjoying each other's company, sharing this intimate moment that we'll never forget. I forget anytime
You
I
don't
sit
lose any
beside
of
someone,
that.
it's just like, okay, I'm here
Let the
eating.
man speak.
This is fine. We're having a meal. But if I'm sitting across from someone, because I go out with friends all the time, like my bros, and we'll go out and like have coffee or something, and I'll intentionally sit across from them so that I can not, just like you said, Grant, not be distracted by other outside things. I want my focus
That's the
to
thing,
be
though.
on this person.
I'm not distracted. I'm
Yeah.
I'm more.
You guys just get
I am
distracted
more
easy is what it sounds like.
attention to Sage because I can
Again.
feel her next to me.
Call me traditional. That's just I
That's
find
not
it
traditional.
great
Don't
joy.
try to
preference.
claim
You
that
know,
you're
you know what you
traditional.
can call me and Dan. You can call us right.
Scarred.
We are right about this. Okay.
Rocky's in two. Right, that's 3 against 2. You guys.
All I'm saying is
Well, I can sit on all of y'all and y'all can't even lift
I'm
me. So.
I'm ADHD.
I'll just watch.
Yeah.
And I definitely know that I get distracted, and
You
that's
just
one of
proved
the-
our point. You're just distractible.
I'm literally admitting to your point right now. If you let me finish,
Respect.
I literally need that because I know I'll look away. So it's one of the things I choose to do for sure. But I have a hard time because I'll go to dinner with my dad and he'll go, let's sit at the bar.
Gang.
And I'll say, no, I don't want to sit at the bar because I can't spend time with you.
Yeah.
It feels like we're not together when I'm like this and I'm eating and I'm trying to be like, so like, how was it? I just honestly don't know how to be as relational if I'm like this.
It's not just you. It's period. Like that's what it is.
That's what I believe, but I'd be open to an argument against that. I'm saying for me, I do not know how to be as relational if I'm going like this and being like, "What's up?" Or, oh yeah,
the bar
versus
this.
situation.
Situation is rough. Like that's like the worst case scenario. Like the best case scenario is like the square table with like the angle because it's like you can literally be straight across without having to fully turn your head. The bar is a little weird. But we're boys, and I wasn't trying to sit in a hard chair when there's like a nice booth.
You're just
so
trying to
whatever.
cuddle eat with Grant. What you trying to do?
Nah, bro. But that
I
food,
get it. He a fine man.
that food was good. But I think if I don't know, just I feel like almost it's like too much. Just like you're putting a lot of pressure on like the person, just staring at them like the whole time.
It gets awkward.
It does, yeah. It gets
Wow, you
awkward.
guys
And
are-
this is it.
No, because that's the
What do you
booth
eat there?
situation.
What do you
Look,
got?
we could trade mics and it's all.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
look
I
at
mean,
him.
I'm not like
I'm
just
not-
honestly, if I could figure out how to be as relational side by side, I wouldn't care. I have to be personally seeing them,
should
and then
try
it
it.
feels. Now I can see the side by side, but again, it causes less of my view to be of them, and then I get distracted by the other things.
But maybe that's
simply
good.
put.
No,
Problem
try.
is, anytime Abby sits beside me, we then pull up a phone and just start scrolling together and laughing at whatever videos we see. But if we're across from each other, we don't pick up our phones and look at anything because
feel like
then she's
you-
like, well, what are you
sounds
looking
like a
at?
you
Or
guys
I'm
don't
like,
sit at-
what are you doing over there?
good point.
And so we put the phones down.
Then
We sit
just
across
don't
from each other.
pick
so
up
Yeah,
we
no,
don't-
you guys are
We're not
literally just
talking about all
describing
this.
Guys,
you
Don't
guys
do
being
nonsense.
distractible.
Tell me
don't-
one thing.
I can't tell you how
We're
many-
telling you guys examples of why
Okay, how about
ours
this?
is better, and all you're
How
saying
about
is
this?
just don't do
How
that.
about this?
Yeah,
I
Why don't
was-
you tell me how yours is better?
Okay, I was sitting across from Sage once. Shocker. Same thing happened. She pulled out her phone and started scrolling. So your point is just like
What? That's a horrible
Get
argument.
invalidated. He
No,
just
I'm
invalidated
saying-
your
You're
point.
saying one example.
No,
of
I'm
something.
saying that's your example.
Tell me how.
yeah.
Tell me how.
No, he's
one
disproving
way,
your
I'm
point.
disproving your point because you're giving me anecdotal evidence based on your personal experience.
No, we're
he
saying
got JP on you. That's what I'm talking about, baby.
your tendency to pull up a phone to share a video
Just don't do it.
can happen more than someone who's
No, it's
away.
false.
No, that's
false.
called a
false.
personal opinion.
No, it's not because
That-
you can't
show
share.
Me
you
the
can't share.
empirical evidence that
This
where's
is
the
it.
study? Where's
Here
the
it is.
study?
You ready for it? Look at this.
Go.
You want to see my phone?
Go.
Can you see it?
No.
what are you-
Exactly.
what are you looking
Can
at,
you
Grant?
see it, kid?
Just don't pull your
Can
phone
you see
out.
it, kid? That's empirical evidence, bro. That's empirical
Literally,
evidence.
but he's right. Just don't whip your phone out on a
don't-
date.
It's called.
Exactly,
It's a
and
weird
that's
thing
fine.
nowadays. It's called self-control.
I get that.
Self-control
I get that. I
and
get
not being
that. I get
distractible.
that. What you guys are saying is your argument against our empirical evidence, which is just don't. So okay, your argument back is just
no,
don't.
but no,
Okay,
our main-
You can pull your phone out
But-
whenever you want.
But what I'm asking you is have an argument for yours that makes it better than ours. Because that's what we did. We
That's
said,
easy.
here's the
That's
empirical
100%
evidence
easier.
Yeah.
is why it's good. And then you said
wanna
just
hear it?
don't.
You wanna
You
hear
tell
it?
me what
I'm
your
gonna let
reason
him
is.
go. I'm gonna let him
You
go.
want to hear the reason
If it's not good enough, I'll
sitting,
add to
sitting
it.
next to you is better?
Don't say cuddling though.
No, okay. If you want me to say
Because
cuddling,
that's like
across the
marriage. I'm
table.
saying like date situation.
I think it's awkward. I think it puts way too much pressure.
Yeah.
Like, because you're like, this is you. If you're across from each other,
Yeah, no, I'm already
no, it's
weirded
weird. It's
out.
weird,
I'm
man.
already
Like you're
weirded out,
freaking,
dog.
like you're
Man.
staring
that.
at
Go
them.
try that.
Like,
Go try
expecting-
that.
What if there's a lull in the conversation? So you're just like,
Guys, my wife is so beautiful. I want
can't
to be
pull out my
staring
phone
at
because I'm
her.
across from you.
You should just
so right.
not look at them. How about that?
Then you look stupid
Just
because you're
don't.
like,
Just
you're
not
like,
look at
oh,
him.
look at.
Just don't.
Guys, I didn't have any conversation, so
I'm just telling you, man.
No, okay, no. Actually, he
No.
brings up a good point. It is the fact that when there's down moments, it's less awkward. Like, because if you're across from somebody, like 90% of the time, like you have to be staring at them, and if you're not, you look weird because you're like trying to avoid eye contact. But from a corner perspective, you're not putting too much pressure on that person because you're not like staring at them, like staring down the barrel, and they're gonna feel a little more at ease. You can still have that same amount of intimacy because you're even closer to them, and at the corner table, you can stare into their eyes too, and. But when there's a down moment and when you're like not talking, you kind of just like look around and you don't
Yes.
look weird, like you're trying to avoid them.
Can I say? I'm gonna add to that because okay, you can only say I love you or I like you. You only say it so many times. But guess what? Like leaning on somebody says constantly.
Yeah.
You don't have to say. It's like saying I like you.
only
I like
like
you. I like you. I
attention.
like you.
Even-
It's
or
like saying I
even
like you
tactful eye
constantly,
contact.
but it's just body contact.
No, he's right. Even like eye contact will be more meaningful because it's not happening the entire time. It's like it'll be like for emphasis.
big-
Wow,
that's
we're
good.
killing these
That's
fools.
good.
Let's go, baby.
Giga brain.
When was the last time you? Obviously, you two couldn't even handle eye contact for 2 seconds a second ago.
They got weird, bro.
The
got
thing
so
is,
weird.
it's very intimate to make eye contact, and one of the reasons why I look at people's eyes when they're in front
You
of
know
me.
what?
It gets
You know what
old.
else is
It's not
intimate?
my fault you can't handle
You know what
intimate
else is
moments.
intimate?
We live in a
Touching.
generation that can't handle eye contact.
Touching.
It's
Touching is
the
so
hard
intimate.
truth.
That you're telling me touching is more intimate than eye contact.
Yes, absolutely.
From a society,
Absolutely.
from a
But if
society
you add
right
them
now,
both
they will have
together-
sex with people and not even look at them in the eyes because they are open to physical touch, but they are looking in their eyes because they think it's weird.
What?
Wow. Wow.
just ripped out.
I think you cut our sound. I can't hear anything anymore.
I can't hear anything either.
Well, this has been the Kind of Nice
bad.
podcast, you guys.
That's this one. It's this one.
Guys, my wife's too pretty for me not to want to sit across from her and
You
stare
can
at her.
still look at her.
We're
I'm
back.
not turning my
Sorry.
neck just to get a
Oh,
good
you're,
view.
no,
too
he's
aggressive.
saying his wife is too pretty. He wants to look at her, but he doesn't want to be closer to where he can touch her.
See,
Oh, that comes after the date.
You could do it during them.
Oh wow. Okay, we don't need
so,
to get into
sorry.
okay,
details.
so y'all don't even like warm up. Y'all just kind of like
First off, you
It got too
two,
crazy. It got too crazy.
you two don't have to tell any more details about either one of your lives. We're single over here. We don't want to
You're
hear
the one that
about
brought
it.
in like
Fair
is
enough,
physical
fair enough.
touch intimate because I was about to lay into that one.
I was just saying it's very intimate, but our society right now, it seems, is very open to physical touch and saying it's fine, and they've seen it as less intimate, as this is just proven that looking in someone's eyes is too intimate to do because it's feels
No, it's not
weird.
that it's too intimate. It's that you can't do it for like impactful moments anymore. You're just doing it the entire time.
No,
entire time.
who
And
says
it's
I sit in
not-
front of someone the whole time? I'm just like staring
what
in
are you,
their
then what are you
eyes
looking at?
at anything
So,
else.
so then you're literally just like,
Look at 90% of your vision right now. If I'm looking at Daniel, 90%, not even 90, 98% of everything I see 2 sets of eyes that make up this much of a picture that's this big. There's billions of places I could look.
Plus, there's something
that kind of-
comforting in looking in the eyes of another person who actually cares about you, and having that
Y'all
moment
just like-
sitting
y'all
on
just
a date
personally
and being
like doing it constantly.
I care about you.
Yeah.
I care about you, but not even saying anything because you can see it in each other's eyes. Like
I want you
that
guys to
doesn't
do the
happen
rest of
side
the
by
podcast
side.
staring at each other.
Just stare at each other.
if you guys break eye contact, you lose
What?
because you.
Here's the deal. I actually think
Rocky, why?
I actually think we brought up some good points here. I wish people could vote. I wish we could
we
get some
could do it.
feedback from people
Oh, we should
listening.
do this
Well, okay,
on a-
I know for a fact I'll lose because like people actually, most people I talk to think it's weird that Sage and I sit next to each other when we eat or go out
Yeah,
to eat. Or
I mean,
on
no,
a
it's
date.
probably a minority opinion,
Well,
but
the good on both sides that we have here that were actual good points are, one is that you are focused on them, and the other is that there is physical closeness, which is valuable to be physically close to somebody. And I wonder, I mean, I have a high value on the eye contact, so maybe that's why I say it is better to look at, dead
there-
at somebody.
There's
And
been multiple studies done about the importance of physical touch on mental health, on actually heart health, on your hormones. Like there's like a bunch of studies that show like the more you're touched, the more you hugged, it can actually make you more calm. It can regulate your hormones.
But how do you know that's not just needing to be more loved? Because if
No,
that
'cause it's
person felt
literally
more
touch.
loved through...
no, it's actually the touch.
because you can go get a massage or
it's
get
the
worked
touch.
on. Like
Yeah.
Jared's talked about this. He's like the my Rusty guy, and just him working on me. And when he's like, I don't want to word this like this, but when he's like touching me, literally like working on me, it feels awful because he's like digging his thumb into like any muscle that's like super sore. So it feels horrible.
Get me out of this podcast.
It's not calming at all. But like he literally said like that he's like, as an Arasti guy, he's said like a lot of the people he works with, he's noticing that he thinks that like humans in general just need to be like worked on. Like, I mean, as athletes, he thinks like athletes need to be worked on weekly, but he said like there's need to be like human touch between humans, like, and it doesn't have to be in a sexual and intimate way. Just literally like anything, right?
Physical contact.
Yeah,
of any
physical
kind.
contact in general.
Yeah, because if Sage just stares at me all day, it's not gonna do me anything.
When did a date become an all-day
Yeah, when-
activity?
A lot. Do y'all not go on all day dates?
When I've sat down and had
He does.
a date with someone, the amount of time I spent actually looking into their eyes is so small.
So you're just
because
staring
it's
at the
very
ceiling?
intimate.
Then what? That defeats the purpose.
So
then,
you're
'cause
saying there's two
literally-
places you can look? Their eyes in the ceiling?
You
There's
were
tons of
literally
places.
your main point was literally I need to sit across from them because I get distracted. But then you went on to tell us like you're sitting across from them. There's all this other stuff to look at. Like
still
that
get
was
distracted.
just your
Yeah,
main
but there's
point.
even more. So
There's
But
a
if what you
sense
just
of
said-
focus still.
What if
numbers.
you're in the
Y'all
middle
want
of
to
the
hear
restaurant?
numbers?
But which if you would
Percentage wise, Daniel, if he's sitting in front of me, I see, let's call it 40% of my view is Daniel. Now, 20% of my view is Daniel. That's just numbers.
No,
More
but here's
distracting
with what you
things.
just said. You said for like 10% of the time you're looking into their eyes. It's just more.
I hope it's not 10%.
That's what you said though. Okay,
Say
10.
that.
Yeah.
Not
Did you
that
say
much.
10?
There's
We've
no
said a
way.
lot.
It's a very small
wasn't
amount.
paying
said a
attention.
You
lot.
said a
I'm
small
sorry.
amount. You said a
Small
small
amount,
amount.
sure.
So we'll say 10, 20%, whatever. It's more comfortable if you're not across from them, because when you're actively sitting across from somebody, when you're not looking straight ahead, it looks like you're actively avoiding them. Versus if you're like diagonal or like next to them, it doesn't look like you're avoiding them anymore. It looks like you're kind of just like looking where you're supposed to be looking.
I mean, I'm just going to assume the way you guys have moments of looking in someone's eyes has not been good, or you don't understand it or something.
Which eye do you look into, left or right?
because
It's usually the right. I usually hit the Sage's right eye.
I like change eyes.
That's weird.
No?
Then,
You
then
stare. Which eye
while
do you
they're
stare
looking
at?
at you, just look at
dude,
me.
if you really stare at someone's eyes, I will do this. Can you tell the difference between this right here?
You changed a little
You
bit.
were looking at this one and then this one.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll do that sometimes because, again, I have a high importance in this. And I remember one of my mentors and I would sit down and we'd have some very deep conversations. And it was very important for me to look him in the eyes. And I'd catch myself looking at his nose, looking at his like chin or just over his shoulder because I couldn't handle looking at him in the eyes. It's a lot. It's a very
It's powerful, yeah, but that's
Powerful
why you use
thing.
it.
Well, yeah.
And again, when I go on a date, hopefully I don't do it that much. It will creep people out. But for me to be engaged with a person is to see them helps to do that. So I see it as valuable. I can see by being physically close that could be good. But for me, there's another time for physical closeness. I don't need it on a date. That was my reference of this. But especially don't need it side by side when two bros are eating together. I don't need any physical touch, dude. Eat your food across the table and quit making these people think we're together.
Kid, you're wrong for that one, bro.
Nah, I don't regret it. Like I wasn't trying to sit in a hard chair.
Because
I was trying to sit in the booth. Like the booth was comfortable. He sat in the booth first. I was like, I'm not gonna take this chair because he got there first.
Look at it this way, Grant. He's so comfortable with you. He just wants to feel near you.
Nah, now you're making it weird.
Did he have to lean to the same side as me?
That was your
food?
fault for not taking your plate out of the tray.
I said, excuse me, let me get some food. And
Damn,
he
this
said,
sounds like a
excuse
lover's
me,
quarrel.
let me also
you guys
get
need a
some
room?
food.
Yeah,
Take your plate
let's,
out of the tray.
Hey, mom and dad, don't fight.
I can appreciate sitting in both spots. I really would love to hear from people. We got to figure out a
put
way
a
to
poll.
get
Put a poll up
We'll
on
make a
your,
poll after this.
Can we make a poll on Patreon, or where's the poll going to go?
No, let's
I
do
mean,
a
Instagram.
video
on Instagram.
Yeah, we got polls on there.
I'll draw it on the whiteboard so people can understand it. We'll post it on Instagram.
Nice.
We'll see what they believe.
We'll draw a picture face to face in the table.
Yeah, the angles.
Are we going to put it on our Instagram or on?
Let's blast it everywhere.
I think I want the most. Like if we put it on kind of nice, the numbers are lower, the followers, so we're gonna get a small sample size. So
Well,
maybe
I'll put it up on mine.
No,
How
big
about that?
no. Here's the big
put it up
brain
on mine
move.
too.
Put it on kind of nice, and then we promote it for people to go vote on the kind of nice. So then people go to
Too
the
many
page.
steps, man.
a lot
Instagram
of
people won't
steps.
do
People
it.
aren't
I
gonna
like
follow
your
that as
idea.
often.
It's big brain
It's
though.
big brain,
It's
definitely.
big brain.
I've lost people in that process though.
But it's okay. I'm okay with losing people if we gain people through it. You know what I mean?
I'm going to put it up on mine directly because I think we still need to pull some people over from my pages because a lot of people were surprised I even do podcasting.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
it's like
think
fairly
they're
new.
catching it. They're catching on to this is what we do now. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we got 4 seats in here, right?
It's a lot.
You know, like
Well, we really have 3.
Yeah. We're sitting a little close. Look at this guy, bro. You got all that space over there.
I'm gonna come in here and put a
Brethren.
picture of myself, like just right there, right, so I can be part of this podcast officially, unofficially.
I'm gonna put the
Unofficially.
Peterson poster right there because he doesn't want it.
I want it.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
You told me to put it in the
You,
garage. I
you,
was gonna put it in the
disres-
garage.
you
disrespected it too hard for me to give it to you.
You
Please,
don't want
kid, please give it to me.
Do you want it?
I'm looking you in the eyes.
Do you want it?
Yes.
Is
Unless,
it gonna make you happy?
actually,
though?
I do think it'd be cooler.
Here's
here.
the thing. I told him I was just like, look, Grant, because he was like, yeah, get it for Mona because he wants to get it for Nick, and Nick's gonna like probably freak on it. Randy's son-in-law, or whatever, because he was like you, but he was like you times 3.
Dang,
like,
that's a lot. Because
he was out
already
here
a
like
lot.
he was out here trying to like pay us
just
for our
more vocal
tickets,
about it.
right?
Bro, he was full on trying to pay us for tickets,
Yeah.
and I told him like, "Hey, we're gonna do the same tomorrow," and he sat there and it festered in his head the whole time. As soon as we ended the podcast, camera shut off. He goes, "All right, here's the deal," and started talking about it. I was like, "Dang, he's been thinking about
fiending.
this." So I was like, "We'll give him the signed poster," but I hope he doesn't have the same feelings you do.
I
Yeah.
think you should put it up here in the studio.
Maybe, but I told him I was just because he was like, yeah, get it for Grant. He'll be psyched, or Mac, he'll be psyched on it. And I was like, listen, bro, any gift I give bad at this point now will never top the Taylor. So there's no point.
That's
to
actually
get,
very true.
Y'all
That
know the
Taylor-
story of the Taylor.
Yeah,
Man,
there's no
I've
point.
never been so close to crying in my life.
We almost got. I was just like,
We
I
all
don't.
chipped
I-
in some money,
Yeah,
got him a super nice Taylor guitar.
Y'all don't understand.
Yeah.
I've always wanted a Taylor. I've never had the money for it. Right.
that's why
And-
it's like, yeah, it was perfect.
And like these boys all chipped in together. And like I'm not an emotional person. Like I don't cry. Like it takes
He got a little choked
it
up.
takes a lot. Guys, I freaking misted. Like my eyes got all like blurry. Like I had to like collect myself. Like I opened that up. Like I didn't want to cry in front of these guys, man. But man, I felt so much love because like it wasn't the expensiveness of the gift. It was like the thoughtfulness. Like it was like
Yeah.
all these people came together and like got me something I thought I would never have. Just because like I'm trying to take care of my girls out here. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
indulge on myself. And y'all like got that for me. And I'm just like, wow.
So yeah, me giving him a Peterson poster. Yeah, what he just said, and then here's a Peterson poster to the thing you didn't get to go to. Like it's maybe just actually every time he looks at it, he's probably just gonna get pissed. Just be like, that's
You're
the
not
thing
wrong.
I didn't get to go to.
You're not wrong.
All right, I think we're gonna wrap this up. If you guys want to be shout out of the week, go to Apple Podcasts and give us a review, 5-star review. Write something down, or we don't get to see it. We don't have a new one right now, so if you go write a review down, you're pretty much guaranteed the next shout out spot. Other than that, guys, if you guys want to check out the Patreon, it's patreon.com/kinda nice. We're going to do a Zoom meeting, I think the 31st, because we said we're going to do one in January. And I think Monday, I was asking you guys what works for you, and Monday seems to be a good day. So if you get in to the Patreon before that, then you'll get to do the Zoom meeting with the boys.
Let's go. I'll be there.
Instagram is at Kinda Nice Show.
Kinda Nice Show.
Kind of nice show.
Nice. There's been some nice clips. We put up a pretty funny Fit Aid clip today. So go show some love there. And then also figure out where you like to sit when you go on dates, and go ahead and tell us in the DMs or whatever.
I'm going to put it up on my Instagram. So you'll see it on mine at Iowa Ninja. You'll see, we'll film a little thing here to do the poll and see, is it better for that across the table or side by side? Or in this case, I think you're arguing for the corner spot.
Yeah,
right?
corner. Yeah, side by side is unarguable. It's like too weird.
Yeah,
corner spot's the move though.
Corner. So we'll see. Corner shot or straight down the barrel.
Cool. All right, guys. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks. We'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.
I'm kinda nice with the gear. Shout out my area code. I'm feeling nice with the drill. And I'm about to bury the flow. I'm about to make me a meal. Nothing gon' get in the way. You soon keeping it trill. I'm all about getting this pay. 'Cause I'm kinda nice with the gear. Shout out my area code.